Hello, it's Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Hey, me and Emily is here with me at the fire station.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
So I don't know if you want to leave it unmuted. I don't know, Emily might have a few things, or you want to just cue us in whenever.
I'll cue you in whenever.
Okay.
Sounds good, thanks.
Hi, everybody. Chris Purley here. I'm dialed in.
Hi, Chief Burley, how are you?
Good. How are you, Barb?
Doing well.
Karen Burton is here. Hi, this is Hank Benesh.
Hi, Hank.
How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
Hi, Kathleen is here from the chamber.
Hi, Kathleen.
So you heard me?
Who's that?
Karen Burton is here.
Julie Hoyt is here.
Hi, Julie Hoyt. Hi, Karen.
Julie Atwell is here.
Perfect. John Allen, are you here yet? Dick Bennett, are you on?
Hey, Barb, do you see Pat? He's going to want to weigh in at some point. Do you see his number on there?
I do not see Pat yet.
Hey, Julie Hoyt.
Yes.
Julie. Oh, go ahead, Julie.
Hi, I'm here.
John Allen was just trying to call me. I bet he doesn't have the login info.
Okay, I'll call him.
Hi, Sarah.
Okay.
Sarah from yesterday's is here too.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Trying to look through all these numbers here.
Is John on?
I don't see him anywhere, but I'm not sure what number he could be calling from, a different number. So, Julie Hoyt, do you know where John would have been calling from today?
She might be on the line with him right now.
Oh, right.
Yes.
John, are you on yet?
No, we did not.
Pat Kelly, are you on?
This is Kelly Gagnon. I'm on.
I'm sorry, I was asking if Pat Kelly is on also. Nope, here.
Hey, Barb, it's Julie. John should be calling in right now.
Okay, thanks, Julie.
Thanks.
There he is. John, are you on?
I am.
All right.
Sorry about that. I didn't find the email with the number on it.
That's all right. All right. Dick, I think we're ready to go then.
All right, then I'm going to call the select board meeting for June 9th, 2020 to order. And the first business is I did some research from the local government center, and I'd like to impart that. Robert's Rules of Order are not required, nor are they particularly useful for any municipal board. For one thing, the current edition is 700 pages. The official brief version is 200 pages. So there are no procedural requirements for conducting ordinary business other than RSA 41(8). A majority shall be competent in all cases, which is majority rule. And the other one is RSA 91A. Any official business may be conducted at all official business will be conducted at a public meeting, which we're doing. The selectmen set the procedures, and I'm always willing to listen to any suggestions which will make our meetings, run more efficiently. And one other thing, the chairman can be changed at any time by a majority vote. So with that in mind, we will move on to approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting of May 26th.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Hey, Dick, I think you have to start doing it by saying your name and then approve.
Okay. Again, I'll do that. Barbara Campbell, how do you vote?
I vote in favor of approving the minutes. Aye.
John Allen, how do you vote?
I vote aye as well.
Bennett, aye. Okay, when it is unanimous, I'm not going to ask for a dissenting vote because you can't vote twice. So if we've all voted in the affirmative, then that's it.
Sounds good.
Is there any discussion so far?
Nope.
No.
Okay. So the first thing on the agenda is yesterday's restaurant seating in the state right-of-way. I believe that Chief Purley is going to speak on that.
Hello, Chairman Bennett. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me, I guess?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, so I did did some research and sent an email to the select board. So has everybody received that information?
I have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So in short, the process regarding the request by Ms. Lord would be as follows. she would have to make the request for the select board for consideration to engage in activity or commerce other than vehicular traffic to include parking in the right of way. After she makes that request, the select board has to consider it, and if they consider it in favor of it or in favor of moving forward, they would have to discuss and negotiate with the state of New Hampshire, as the village loop is a state right-of-way. And if a consensus was formed between the select board and the state of New Hampshire regarding the use of the right-of-way for other than vehicle traffic or parking, then a document would be drafted, basically a signed agreement between all parties, clearly defining what activity is going to occur, when, for how long, to include safety measures and a detailed diagram thereof. So that's the process. As far as the activity that has been requested and the area in question. The area in question is the front of Yesterday's Restaurant. That has been through research on an ancillary matter, that being parking in front of Flossie's. It is well established that that is public parking. It is maintained by a public institution and therefore is not private property to be used in any manner that private property can be used. So because it is public property, because it is parking, from a public safety standpoint, I had considerable problems with it because there was no physical barrier between the vehicles traveling and patrons of the restaurant on this one particular weekend where it occurred prior to the requested permission or obtaining permission. Those types of circumstances make very high risk for pedestrians in the area. That area of the Village Loop is a bit of a congestion point because people from the Snowflake and on the sidewalk cross the street to enjoy, patronizing Yesterday's and going to Badger Realty and the like. So it is a high traffic area if you can designate it area as high foot traffic. Pedestrian vehicle conflicts can often result in injury. And adding dining patrons to the right of way is a significant visual distraction in an area that has a lot of pedestrian traffic. And conceivably, the pedestrian traffic would increase if people were being served meals in that area. So because of those things, because of the public safety matter, I would not be in favor of that occurring absent a significant physical barrier if approved by the state of New Hampshire Department of Highway and the Select Board. So now I understand that this was a request by Ms. Lord as a mitigator to the outside dining rules from the governor's emergency order because she did not have what she felt was sufficient ground space to do outside dining. But I, as I'm sure many know, would note that restriction is resolved June 15th when indoor dining in Carroll County can resume normal operations.
Thank you, Chief. Sarah, are you there, Sarah Lord?
Yes, sir, I'm right here.
And would you like to speak?
I would. I guess I would start with the last comment that Chief Purley made, was that this whole problem will be resolved as of Monday. I would love nothing more than that to be a true statement. Unfortunately, even though those of us in northern New Hampshire are allowed 100% capacity, we are still restricted to 6-foot distancing between our tables. I have done the math inside my building multiple times with my crystal ball, trying to figure out, will it be a party of 2 or will it be a party of 5 that comes through the door, in which order? in my estimate, my 70 seats inside will be about 30. So I don't agree that on Monday we'll be back up and running the way we would normally be if we weren't in the middle of a public health crisis. I do apologize for having put the tables out without permission. I just kind of do everything I can to stay afloat with regard to if I am granted permission from the town and the state. I am prepared to bring in Jersey barriers. We already have them saved at Coleman. I've made arrangements. I would be happy to meet with the gentleman from the state, anybody, Pat Kelly, Chief Purley, whoever would have a bigger brain for this than I would, as far as where you would like the barriers placed, how many of them. We're prepared to do whatever is necessary to keep everyone safe out front. I guess it's my understanding after listening to the chief that my letter to you guys today won't accomplish getting permission from you. I have to submit it in another format. Is that true?
I believe so.
If I can interject, Dick, I think one of the most important linchpins to approval or denial is you have to have a detailed drawing of what you intend on doing, because nobody will really know. In particularly, nobody will know the measurements and the distances. You know, the right-of-way has to maintain some level of width and integrity just for safe travel. The Jersey barriers take up space. I don't really know how much space the footprint of a Jersey barrier is. I'm sure Pat knows it, but I don't know exactly. There could be an issue of emergency vehicle egress and ingress, ambulance service. I don't know. That's why I think no learned decision could be made on the topic until the detailed plan exists. Now, it may exist, I don't know. Sarah can speak to that. But I think the plan, the detailed drawing, has to be the first thing, and the request is the second thing, because nobody will be able to make a decision without the drawing.
And is that, may I speak?
Certainly.
Thank you. It's just hard to tell over the phone if it's time to interject. So that would be a drawing that you would expect me to do, or when I did discuss this with the gentleman from the state, he did say that it wasn't something he was hoping that I would have an engineer draw up. I would certainly think that time is of the essence here. So if I could get a little support or help in the drawing, I could draw a drawing and it could get rejected, and I could draw another drawing. I will put the barriers out in whatever manner the people who are in charge of the safety, the state, the town, determine. I own a restaurant, so this is certainly not something that I would be able to speak intelligently about. I mean, I could take a stab at it. I can tell the width of a car. I would know how far away, you know, how far apart you could space a Jersey barrier, with the general assumption that a vehicle wouldn't be able to get through. I would certainly think there might be other people who would have a stronger, more intelligent opinion about that.
Okay, I don't think it's particularly a matter of opinion. I know that you're not going to be able to put the Jersey barriers in the road right of way. And then putting them on or into the town parking, which I think we've gone through in the past, I don't know that that would be acceptable either, because then that will set a precedent of whatever business infringing on that parking. So I don't want you to get, involved in a needless expense to have an engineer establish where the 50-foot right-of-way through town is. It'd probably be pretty close to 25 feet from the center of the road each way. But, you know, there are engineers that do this stuff. But I don't want you to have to go through that if really, I don't know what the chances of it being approved are. So, you know, I'm not
asking for this to go on indefinitely. The only reason I'm asking for this is because we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're being extremely restricted on how we can operate. So there can't be any verbiage in there where we wouldn't be setting a precedent that it was only specific to this particular time frame. And it's also my understanding that, and I know that this may sound, I'm not sure, you know, when you're a kid, well, my friends get to do it. And I don't mean to sound adolescent when I make these comments. However, Hampton Beach has shut down one whole side of their town. Like, the road's one way now to create a walking mall to accommodate those businesses to help them stay afloat. In Hanover, the town actually reached out to a business, and I can see footage of it. I've seen pictures. He's taken up at least 7 parking spaces, just as if you could imagine what North Conway parking looks like. So 7 regular spaces, Jersey barriered them in. So I don't think what I'm asking for is, it's unique in the way that it's because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but it's not unique to me as a business owner in the state of New Hampshire reaching out to their town to ask for some flexibility temporarily.
I just don't want you to go through or to incur unnecessary expense. I'm happy, you know, if you want to put together the plan that would be acceptable, we'll send it into the state and see what they say. We'll certainly consider it as a select board. So, you know, I think right now, you know, coming up with a drawing of what your proposal is the way to move this thing forward.
Dick,
So
could I ask a
perhaps I should
question?
ask.
This is Barb. Could I just ask a question? Sarah, this is Barb Campbell. You had sent the email that the fact that you had talked to Alex from Lancaster. Is he with Department of Transportation or DOT, or is he?
Yes.
So when we
From my
say,
understanding, he's
go ahead.
person in charge of this stretch of road, whatever. I don't know the proper verbiage of that, but he's the guy to talk to.
If we talk about getting a plan drawn up and whatever, and then taking it to the state, is that the person we would have to contact, or you would have to contact?
Yes.
That was my understanding.
Okay.
I've talked to him several times. I would actually even reach out to him and ask him if he would come down here and draw the drawing with me. It would save time.
I was just curious on those two facts because we talk about connecting with the state or talking to the state, and I wasn't sure if that was the person. And also, obviously, like you mentioned, time is of the essence. So, that matters as well. And also, I have to ask, have you talked to your neighbors as far as additional outdoor seating that would be available? I know that's not opportune, but just curious.
Talking to Mrs. Badger or to use the parking lot?
Right.
No, I haven't, because I assume that Kathleen would like to keep a couple of parking spaces there as well.
Right. I was just curious to see if, there were any other options as well. This is definitely tough. for you, I'm sure, more than we know.
I'm just reading through. It does read in the 2.0 that such as parking spaces close to entrances, sidewalks. I wouldn't opt for the sidewalk across the street. I wouldn't want my servers having to cross the street, so that's not an
No,
option.
I agree. I was just sort of laying things out and wondering.
Yep. Right. No, I appreciate that. I mean, if I have to, I guess I will ask Kathleen if she wants to talk to Mrs. Badger if they want to give up their parking spaces. I think that, you know, Chris Furley and we had a little chat on the phone, and he did state that these are definitely not my parking spaces, and what if somebody wants to park out here and walk up to the falls? I definitely recognize that it is not my property. But I think that we could definitely argue that the majority of the people who park in front of this restaurant would be customers of mine. So if I'm robbing a parking space, I'm really just robbing it from myself, which at this time is really not an issue. I would happily sacrifice. I mean, I'll ride my bike to work, and I won't take up a spot on the street if that's what it comes down to. My hat is genuinely in my hand. I don't know what else to suggest as far as to. It just sounds to me like I'm going to draw a drawing, and then who do I give it to? Do I give it to the selectmen? And then if you guys approve of it, then you give it to the state. It just seems like there might be some potential for going in a circle, and I don't have time to go in a circle. So if somebody could draw a straight line for me and tell me very specifically who approves it.
You get a drawing and bring it to the selectmen. We'll get it to the state. I'm sure that we could find a way to email it up to them.
If I was to get the drawing to the state, is that acceptable?
If you were to get the drawing to the state, certainly.
So if the gentleman from the
get the same drawing to both of us, the state and to the selectman's office, and then we can be dealing with it in the same time frames. And, whenever the state would make a judgment on it, then we'll be ready to move right ahead.
Can I?
If the state approves of the drawing, will the selectmen approve of what I'm asking for?
As the chief said, we don't know. We're not going to approve anything until we see the drawing. So you come up with the idea, and we'll go from there. And
so if I bring this, so approximately what's the time frame? If I draw this drawing this evening,
could I
bring it to the state tomorrow?
Sorry, could I interrupt a second? Pat Kelly was on the phone, and he would like to make some comments as well. Dick, do you mind if he interjects?
No, that'd be fine.
Pat, are you there?
I don't know. Am I?
Yes, you are.
I can hear you.
If Alex from the state, if he would be willing to come down, I think that would probably cut a lot of the red tape down. I think you really need to maybe measure, because it's in the state right away. We're all talking about, we're all the town, and we're talking about doing something in the state road, basically, or the state right away. I don't really know how much authority we actually have in doing anything without the state approving, and that's just a whole bunch of red tape. They're a little difficult to work with. But if he would be willing to come down and meet, I would think he would be able to look at the road and maybe make some measurements, and it's either going to be fairly feasible or they're going to say, no, we're not going to allow it. I would think it would be a couple of measurements showing you know, there's enough room for two vehicles to meet safely with a parked car on the Snowflake side and a Jersey barrier on Sarah's side, you know, that would kind of answer the question, I would imagine. So I don't know. I mean, if Sarah, if you can get a hold of Alex and he can come down, I would think that would cut a lot of red tape down.
I appreciate that, Pat. That's what I was thinking. And Alex has been great. He's been very prompt in returning my calls. He pulled this place up on Google Maps. He recognizes there's no sidewalk, because that was also part of an issue with getting approval. You had to demonstrate how people would, you know, how the pedestrians would be moving. There is no sidewalk on this side of the street. So according to the state, that was not an issue.
And then can I
Alex,
go ahead. Can I ask one more question? I guess this is looking way ahead, but whose insurance would be liable for this property if it were made yours, I guess, for a certain amount of time? Sarah, have you talked to your insurance company at all, or would we have to consider talking to the town insurance company regarding that? And again, that's probably 2 steps forward. Just throwing that out there because I was thinking of it.
well, my insurance guy lives right up the street. I'd be happy to call him. I'm sure he'd come right down, you know, and tell me. Again, this is nothing any of us have ever gone through. So I could certainly call perhaps some of the other businesses in New Hampshire that have been allowed to utilize parking spaces. They might be able to shed a little light on it. I would argue they'd be very happy to speak to another restaurant owner to help them get where they need to go.
Okay, and try to get, you know, I do believe that Pat had it when he said, you know, if you can get the state down here, that'll be the quickest way to get an answer.
I agree. Absolutely.
Chief Purley, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to hopefully try to shed a little clarity on the process. And I say that only because I spoke with Alex at length about the process so I could advise the board. And that is the reason that, although it is a state right-of-way, the reason the select board is involved is because through agreement, the state has turned over the parking authority to the select board. And I think the statutory authority is 4717. So on state, because the state does not allow parking on any state road, when parking on a state road that passes through a municipality occurs, it's by agreement between the state and the governing body. And then that's why the governing body ends up responsible for maintaining that area. I think that's an astute question about liability, because if there is a modification, and I say Alex is definitely the engineer at issue at the state level, but I don't believe any state representative is going to agree to anything unless the select board agree to it, because that would be the state allowing the activity on a state road other than driving, and they generally do not. So I think the state would say, this passed muster with me, but the select board has to approve it. Again, I think that's an astute question about liability, because if the select board is agreeing to use that right-of-way section for something other than parking, I would assume that the select board, vis-a-vis the town, is also assuming the responsibilities to at least an equivalent level that you assume when you approve parking in certain spots. So that if ultimately the select board is going to approve or deny the activity that is requested within the confines of the design, and the town is going to be the responsible party, probably in conjunction with the private, interest of Yesterday's Restaurant et al. So that's an astute question. I think that's an astute question, but that's why the state won't approve it and tell the town they can. The state will say, this is a great idea, this is a bad idea, or whatever you want to do is fine with us, but you have to approve it and you're going to own it. So
I accept the fact that we will make that decision at the end. I still think we need to hear from the state for one, to establish what is the travel way. There's the right of way, but you know, here we are in kind of a narrow spot there. What is going to be considered the traveled way? So I still think we have to hear from the state, and I think then we can make a decision on where to go with it.
Is Pat, are you still there?
Yep.
Do you
I am.
want to, when I get a hold of Alex, do you want to meet here at the same time? I'm for the efficiency.
I can,
I
absolutely.
guess
Yep.
I'm still a little lost as to who. Again, you guys tell me. I'll call Alex. I will do my best to get him to come down here as soon as possible. Who else would it be appropriate to have at that meeting? Pat Kelly,
Yeah, I'm happy to come. Not a problem.
would that be sufficient to the selectmen? So when this drawing does get put back in front of you guys, that there would be somebody from the town to speak about it besides myself?
It sounds like Pat would be there. He certainly speaks with us regularly. And I was just wondering if we should delineate a line, if a line can be established of what are the parameters of what's left of space, beyond the road, the Jersey barrier, and then the building, and what can you get along there for tables. So, yeah, I think we have to, get that down on paper with actual measurements, and we can make a decision.
Will it have to wait until the next meeting?
I understand that we would move on this in a timely manner, so I would say not. That I think that we could find a way to, if it all is agreeable, to move ahead with it. We have to do it in public. We can't do it behind closed doors, so I would say we'd just try to find some way, as soon as you can get an answer, see if we can't come up with an answer ourselves. We may have to just do it through the office and express ourselves that way. Does anybody want to weigh in on it now, Barbara or John?
Go ahead, Barb.
I'm fine with, if we can handle it through the office, that's fine. Julie, I don't know if you have any objections to that, or if there are any rules that say we can't do that.
Well, I think she could hear from all of us and kind of correlate that message. And that might be a way for us to move ahead quickly with the process.
We could certainly email and then post the findings in e-news.
Okay, that's great.
There we go.
Thank you very much.
Any further discussion on the seating for yesterday's restaurant?
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the town clerk upgrades for the COVID-19. We want to put in a plexiglass shield that the public will have to speak through and pass paperwork under at the town clerk's office.
I think Pat was going to speak on this.
Yes, he was.
I'm just here to answer maybe minimal questions if you have a question about it. We got the price. It's going to be about $500 total. And one of the issues that we're running into is, I don't know the time frame, but we're pretty limited with Gary right now. He's got to have some medical stuff done coming up. So I can answer questions, but I don't know what you have for questions.
I don't have any questions.
No, I think it's a necessary thing
The
to have
glass
done.
win, right?
Yeah.
That's being done by Granite State.
Correct.
So
And Gary needs to build some counter, and that would have to happen first, he says. He would build some countertop, and then the glass company would come and change out the glass, or the glass gets removed and he builds the countertop, and then they would come in and put a new piece of glass in, is my knowledge of it.
yeah, that's the way I understand it.
Sounds like a good upgrade.
I think it's necessary.
And am I right that the cost will be reimbursed because of COVID?
We never know until we apply, but it seems logical that we're doing this for, the health and welfare of our office. And Karen and Gloria are important to me, and I'd like to see them protected as best we can.
Yep.
And it's not just that, if you can hear me.
Mm-hmm. You
It's
can.
also the residents. If you figure, if for some reason, if Gloria, I should get COVID, and we are unaware of it, and we wait on 5 people at our window per day for 10 days, we have now just spread it to 50 residents. That's the majority of our people here. And so they all go home and they've passed it. We have done really well in Jackson. So the fact is that Gloria and I have the potential that if God help us, we get it, we can spread it real fast. And this will be a barrier for the people to keep them safe and keep our town as safe as possible because of how much interaction we have with people.
John?
I'm definitely in favor of it. I think it's, like I said, we'll probably get reimbursed from it, even though we don't know off the top of, but I think it's something that would certainly be covered and necessary.
Well, I think we should move ahead with it, so I think we should vote on it. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to vote on the plexiglass in the tax collector's office.
And I, Barbara Campbell, will second that motion.
Okay, John Allen, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Barbara Campbell, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Bennett, yes. It's unanimous.
I'm going to interrupt right now because I just was informed that we cannot have a decision on the seating at yesterday's without posting a public meeting. So the sooner that Sarah can get the information and get that to the select office, then we can post a 24-hour notice to have a quick meeting with this on the agenda.
That sounds proper, excuse me, proper to me. I think we can do that.
Okay.
I think that's better than waiting 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Okay, any further discussion on the town clerk's note? We voted on it.
John, Dick?
Yes?
We discussed the mail slot for the door. We talked about possibility of putting a slot and putting a box on the inside of the hallway for motor vehicle transactions.
Yeah, I'm going to take it one step at a time because we have limited access to Gary right now. He is scheduled for some medical. Yep. So everything that we can get done, we're going to get done. I'm going to look at whatever we can do for a slot and a lockbox on the inside so that we have some security for whatever gets put through the slot. And, you know, if that can come to pass, we're definitely going to do it. But as I said, we're going to take things, you know, step at a time and see what we can get done.
And I did speak with Gary. I will be honest, it does not look like time frame wise that the slot might have been an option, but the window will not be probably done until he's done with his taking care of his precautions he has to take care of.
Okay, well, I'll certainly talk with both Gary and Pat and see what, you know, if there is an order of accomplishment that we can set, and we'll do everything we can as fast as we can. Okay, the next thing on my agenda is the Mount Washington Valley Soccer Camp. Now, let's see, Julie Atwell, you've dealt with these folks. Could you speak to that and what they propose, and the fact that the governor has opened up camps? I don't know if it's just day camps or all camps, but I know that they are within their bounds, and I think if they run a safe operation, that should be fine.
Julie Hoyt has been emailing back and forth, but Kelly is on the line, and so I think she could probably speak to it. But yes, the governor did open up.
Okay. No. Go. I'm back. That was me barking at the moon. Okay. Don't try to sneak up on my house.
No.
Okay, I missed any discussion on the people that are running the soccer camp.
Hi there, this is Kelly Gagnon from the Mount Washington Valley Soccer Club. I'm here.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi there.
Hi, Kelly.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Would you like me to go through kind of what we're hoping to do?
What you're hoping to do and how you run it safely. I would like to, I'd like to hear from you.
Let me talk first about the guidelines that we're going by and the kind of the governing. So we have two basic, we're definitely using the state guidelines. And then we also have our insurance is through the New Hampshire Soccer Association, and we're using their guidelines. And then I'm also collaborating. I have connections with people from all over the country with soccer coaches, and I am collaborating with a lot of them and attending several webinars to get ideas and things that people are doing to keep children safe. So we're basically at the point where our community is begging for their kids to recreate, but in a small group, safe manner. We had 11 teams scheduled to play this past spring, and a lot of those parents are like wanting to do it in small groups. So we would keep it to our protocol from meeting the state requirements and meeting our New Hampshire guidelines are that we would have no more than 10 people in a group, and we would have 2 coaches and 8 children together. And then we would have the largest scrimmage we would have would be a 4v4, but we're also going to offer the opportunity, if parents don't want their child to scrimmage and they just want their child to come and be 6 feet apart and work on individual moves, we're going to offer that as a session that they could sign up for. So we found that some kids have asthma and but their parents want them to recreate. So we can make it so that they don't have any contact, but we're going to let the parents sign up for that, because right now the state's allowing us to move towards the 4v4 so they can start to play against each other. So those are kind of the guidelines that we're working through. And what we're trying to offer is, we had a soccer camp that we have had huge interest in, and it has been growing over the past 3 years. And we had it scheduled for July 6th. And we are hoping to host that camp from 9 to 4. And again, we would usually run the camp as in you sign up for a half day or a full day, but instead we're going to have people sign up for 1 hour increments. And then actually, I do have a question for you about the fields. If you allow us to use the fields, I know that we can have like entry from the side where the pond is, and then the other side closer to the Thompson House Eatery where the Snowflake Inn is. And I didn't know if we could use both parking lots so we could stagger groups coming and going. Is that, or do we only use the entryway by the pond? I didn't know that. If that.
We only have jurisdiction over the pond. The motel has the other parking lot. It's theirs. And you would have to speak with them.
Yeah, because we were thinking that would allow for like one group, because the parents are expected to stay in the car. And so one group of parents could get their kids and leave, and the next group of parents could be coming in, and then we wouldn't have any less interactions. But that was one of our ideas for flow. But we would, again, we would talk with the hotel to see if that was okay. But otherwise, we would stagger them so that there was no overlap. But that's just less time. So, we're trying to balance all those things out.
Well, it sounds like you thought a lot of it out. John or Barbara want to weigh in?
I think it sounds great, and I think it'll be great to see kids running around, and I know you're going to take all the precautions that need to be taken, and I think it'll be great.
So I just want to jump in. So we're trying to run the soccer camp July 6th to the 10th, but we're also, some people are away that week, and so we're also have had a really popular futsal league in the winter. And the way that's set up is we have a league in Gorham, a league usually it's in Conway, but in this case it'll be in Jackson, and then a league in Freiburg. And that's kind of really good landmarks for our club, because those 3 locations kind of hit all of the pieces. So we're trying on Tuesday and Sunday nights to just do 4v4. So we would go from 5 to 8 on Tuesday and Sunday nights. And we would have certain groups, one group from 5 to 6, another group from 6 to 7, another group from 7 to 8. And the reason why we pick those 3 locations is that that's less cross mingling of our community. Like Maine stays in Maine. Jackson would get Bartlett, Jackson, Conway, and then we have a huge following of Gorham and Berlin and Milan, and then people aren't crossing communities. So basically, we're trying to run that from June 23rd through July 26th in the evenings, Tuesday and Sunday nights.
Sounds very ambitious.
Yeah, our kids are so excited to play. They are so, and Jackson has been a wonderful resource. It's such a good location I live in Gorham, so I really appreciate sometimes when we don't have to drive that extra bit. But it's been you guys have been really receptive and helpful, and just a great part of our club. So we really appreciate it.
Okay, so I think we should take a vote on holding the summer camp.
I will make a motion to approve using the ball field for the soccer camp and the do we want to vote on the football field as well? Football camp as well?
I will second.
Be safe.
Okay, John Allen, how do you,
I vote yes.
Barbara Campbell, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Bennett, yes. It's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kelly,
You.
Yep,
thank you
Okay.
for speaking with us.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Okay, do you want me to fill out a usage form as well?
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll get that. Yep, yeah, because we were waiting on that. I'll send that to you tonight. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, have a good day.
You as well.
It's a beauty.
Okay.
So all that barking was a bear that was sneaking up on
Oh.
my house. But
Nice.
my dogs chased him away or scared him away. He's a little dog, but he's got a big voice.
Does have a big voice.
The gazebo, we have weddings scheduled for the gazebo. What do you think about having people in there? It seems that we can ask people to distance, mask, take all the precaution, not more than 10 people in whatever part of the wedding party is at the gazebo, or, 10 people at the gazebo and others standing further away. Hopefully, if we open it up for the weddings, people will act well and be safe. I would not like to contribute to any statistics other than recovery.
I agree. I think that if people are, if the governor is making the choices to open things and people follow the rules, then it will be a wonderful thing to move forward.
Okay, I would entertain a motion for using the gazebo.
I will make a motion to use the gazebo for weddings this summer, as long as everybody stays within social distancing rules and guidelines set by the governor.
I second that.
John Allen, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Barbara Campbell, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Bennett, yes. The vote is unanimous.
Dick, while we're talking about reopenings and public attendance, I was wondering if we could talk about two other emails that came in to Julie posting the agenda. So one is about opening the parking at Jackson Falls. And it was sent from Ellie from Wentworth. And obviously she's affected by the opening because a lot of people use her parking to walk up to the falls, and she will be opening the Wentworth again.
Okay, have that. Now, what is your item? I wrote down the opening parking at the falls.
Right.
And the other one was what?
And the other one is the Old Library Trust is required to have an annual meeting in June, and they would like to try to do it on June 14th in the Old Library at 4 p.m. with proper posting of masks and social distancing, etc. So they need permission.
And how many people are in on that?
There's 4 people on the trust, but it's a public meeting, so I don't know how many they would be able to have in the building at once.
Well,
I mean,
I would hope they just, cut it off at 10, and if
right.
more people are there, they could wait, and I'm sure there'd be a way to inform those, more or extra or overflow people of what's going on and what's being decided. It's either that or have them try to have a Zoom meeting of their own.
Yeah, and they said they tried that, and it wasn't working for them, so they wanted to have it in person. And
well,
Julie,
if they want to have a meeting and follow the guidelines, they're fine with that.
And Julie, how many people do you think would be attending that? I said public, but was I wrong on that?
Yeah, the old library management committee has 4, but the
Trust.
The trust is totally separate, and that has a large number of people, but not all attend the meeting. So I don't know what the group number would be.
Okay.
Well, I would say, it's almost up to them to, be safe, be careful, and be smart.
But they still wouldn't be able to have over 10 at this point, correct?
No, that mandate is from the state, so I don't think we can override that. But hopefully, if they want to have the meeting, they could have the meeting inside, and other people could sit outside, or there's benches, or anyway, there's a way they could do it. So they push ahead and try to do it well. Okay, how would we vote on a meeting for the old library?
I'll make a motion that we can approve them to have their meeting. Do we need to make a motion, Julie?
Well, if you want them to use the building, since it's closed technically, maybe yes.
And I will make a motion that we allow them to use the old library for their annual meeting on June 14th.
Barbara, this is Emily Benson.
Hi, Emily.
Want to say something? Hi, just on this, is there any way they can wait until after June 15th? Did they postpone it? And we'll just see in terms of, there's still a limit on gatherings of up to 10 people until June 15th. If they can wait a week?
I don't know the answer to that.
Because, you look at starting June 15th, restaurants can begin serving customers indoors. They limit capacity to indoors to 50%. So I'm just kind of looking at some of those other guidelines in terms of other businesses and things. I'm just putting that out there.
Yep.
But if all of a sudden a lot of people show up for this meeting, that's a pretty small space.
I think that's a good suggestion. I'd like to see them do that and wait till after the 15th. I would like to go ahead with our vote for right now. If they want to conduct a meeting with 10 people or less inside the building, that we would approve that at this time so that we don't hold them up if they choose not to wait till after the 15th with a more lenient mandate from the governor. Okay. So I've had a motion. Could I get a second?
A second from John.
Okay, John, how do you vote? The motion is to have a limited meeting in the near future.
Again, I'm all in favor of that.
Barbara Campbell, how would you vote?
I vote yes. And thanks, Emily.
Feel free to mute us again.
Oh,
Richard Bennett, vote yes. So we'll allow them to have a meeting if they choose to. Hopefully they'll delay so that it'll be acceptable to have more people in the building for the meeting they would like to have. Okay,
All right.
Emily, you okay with that?
Yep.
Perfect.
Great. Let's see. Okay, you brought up opening the parking at the falls. I think we should have some discussion on that.
I would like to be recognized when the opportunity presents itself, please, Dick.
I recognize Chief Pearly.
Thank you. Recognize me probably from a distance too. The U.S. Forest Service is opening up the previously closed outdoor recreation and hiking areas to include Tuckerman's Huntington Ravine, the Gulf of Slides, the Visitors Center, and the parking lots associated there too. They are maintaining a closure on Tuckerman's Ravine Trail above the Lunch Rocks, primarily because of lack of rescue resources if there's a problem. We have closures of huts in the area. Black Mountain Cabin and Dundee Cabin are still closed, but the trails are open. It appears that from all the research and data, outdoor transmission is very much rarer than indoor transmission where there's a substantial viral load. So from a public safety perspective, I do not oppose opening the parking spots with this provision. What I would like to do is I would like to post a section, if you can visualize the section I'm talking about. It's a little walking path where we have the doggy do box. From there forward about maybe 30 yards, and it's an area that is a constant problem with parking because although the sign says no parking on pavement, people then think that means park at a 30-degree angle on the roots of the trees and on the ground space. It's always a problem with congestion. It's a high violation area because people really can't get off the roadway, so we write a lot of tickets. It does impact the ground where they're driving on it. I'd like to post that area. That's going to eliminate about probably 5 or 6 spots, which will reduce density of use, which can help alleviate risk of transmission. And then the other areas that are always prohibited, and that, the corner, they don't necessarily need to be coned because they're signed already. But I think that section.
You mean where they parked all the time now?
Well, not while we're working, because
I know that
we cover that
see 'em
area pretty
so
regularly.
often. Yeah.
And people do not hesitate to call if they do. But
That's right.
yeah, that's a problematic area. And if we're gonna mitigate steps towards reducing transmission, that means reducing density, which means reducing some parking. But I think that the movement to outdoor recreation is consistent with keeping everybody safe. So from a public safety perspective, with that modification, I don't oppose it.
Do you think we could move the A-frames and the cones up the road and do a better job of blocking off the other parking and just allow the parking area to be the one place that people can park?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a balance, Dick, between controlling parking and you don't want it to look like a construction site. But, those devices are already up there. It has done a really good job of keeping people from parking at the falls. So, the plan worked. It did work. So the only concern I have is if we tie up those resources consistently at the falls, we don't have them for other things, like special events, but we're not challenged with special events right now. So yeah, we'll move those around, to facilitate orderly parking for sure.
All right.
I think the A-frames are Pat's and the cones might be mine. They might be Pat's too.
This is Pat. Am I
but-
still on?
All right,
Yeah.
we'll get Pat to move them.
I just
So
don't know
I'd
if he
like
has
to weigh in.
designs on them.
I'd like to weigh in on that a little bit.
Yeah. Chief Pearlie is trying to get your
No, I'm-
A-frames and your cones.
That's what I sounded like. So when I was told to close the parking lots off, I was told I wasn't allowed to put anything in the state right away. And we're not going to be able to cone off that section that he's talking about without putting something in the state right away. So that would be my only issue, because the state right away is about 10 feet up on that bank.
Huh. Well, I think we're gonna have to give it a try, and we open up the parking lot and just move the cones up, and if somebody yells at us, I guess we'll just take them all out, or put up more signage. I don't want to add more signs for now, and it's a temporary thing. I think that in time, we'll figure out a way to, control the parking. But for right now, I would, in an attempt to open it up again, I agree with the chief, and if we limit the parking up the road and let people park, that will cut down on the volume of people in there at any one time. And I think that we'll just give that a try.
So you want to open up the one main parking lot on the right, and everything else is basically closed and coned off. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when do you want me to do that? Tomorrow, or on a certain date?
Oh, let's see, with the 9th. No, I think we can go ahead. I think we're ready to go ahead with that.
Okay.
Oh, I want to
Excuse
actually
me.
take a vote from my
Excuse
fellow.
me, Dick,
Yeah.
can I just point one thing out?
Yeah.
There's a dedicated handicap spot
Right.
north of the main parking lot that I think we should maintain
Okay.
as well. That's all.
Yep, that's a good one. Okay, fellow select persons.
I'll make a
How do we
motion to
vote?
open the falls at the parking with restrictions as discussed by the chief and according to what we can do with the state space.
I second.
John Allen, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Barbara Campbell, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Bennett, yes. Unanimous. Okay, so the old library will meet. We're going to open up the falls with some parking. And now I would like to move on to the town investment policy. I don't know, Barbara and John, if you had a chance to read that policy. It was on the desk.
I did.
Well, you're a good financial person. What do you think?
When you talk about this, you gotta cue me in for radio town stuff.
I believe it hasn't changed. It was just renewed for the new year.
John, what do you think?
I have, really, as I said, it hasn't been changed, so it's just a
Formality.
resubmittal, I guess, is what you want to call it.
People get supply that, clean it when they.
Okay, is this require us another set of signatures?
I think that it's only missing one signature, but just to clarify, this is not the trustees of the trust funds policy. This is basically just stating when the treasurer has to make bank deposits and such.
Yes. Okay. Let's have it.
I'll make a motion to renew the investment policy for 2020.
I will second.
John Allen, how do you vote?
I vote yay. Yes.
Barbara Campbell, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Bennett, yes. Unanimous. All right, now we need to discuss the fireworks.
Phone's gonna be dead.
Okay, who all wants to speak about fireworks?
Kathleen from the chamber here.
Kathleen.
I've been talking with Jay, and the governor's new plan for the move forward did not include the reopening of more numbers, which was expected on a call every week, and we really expected him to do that, but I believe it'll be in the next communication that he has. So we are asking to move the fireworks tentatively because we have to wait and see how everything goes, and we will stay on top of the changes and stuff, to July 31st, which Atlas Pyrotronics does have available, and they are willing to work with us on holding off and changing things around as needed.
Well, that is very encouraging for me, because I am a definite fan of fireworks, as Chief Burley knows.
I think the entire village, we have the best around because of you guys.
Funny,
Thank you.
But I think for now, we're going to cancel our, I think they were June 28th.
Correct.
Scheduled. So I think we'll take a vote on doing that and hope for the best. I certainly hope for plenty of fireworks. I hope there's lots of extras by July 1st.
And I will stay in touch with Chief Pearlie and, of course, Jay Henry.
Hey, can I ask a question, Kathleen?
Of
So
course.
the chamber schedule tentatively is the fireworks the 31st and then the bridge dance the 1st. Have I got that right?
Correct.
For the Saturday and Sunday? Okay.
Correct. And again, everything depends on the numbers changing and the move forward things from the governor.
Yes,
And
of
of course
course.
we would do it, with the, social distancing, the masks, whatever we need to do, we will do. And we will work
Yeah.
directly with you in the town.
Great. Okay. I just wanted to double check on the other pending event.
Yes, and it was the duck race too.
Are you going to add the duck race into the bridge dance as well? So
Yes.
fireworks Saturday, duck race
No,
daytime.
Fireworks Friday.
Friday, I'm sorry. Fireworks Friday,
Okay.
duck race Saturday, AM,
And dance.
bridge dance Saturday, PM.
Yes, and we're gonna make it like a grand welcome back.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm tired of this. But you guys did a great job at keeping us safe, and I can't applaud you more.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathleen.
Okay, so I would entertain a vote to cancel the fireworks for the 28th of August, 28th of June. I'm thinking ahead.
No, don't have to do that. We hope we don't have to do that.
Right.
I'll make a motion to postpone the fireworks. from
Yeah,
June
that's better.
And I will second.
John Allen, how do you vote?
I vote yay.
Barbara Campbell, how do you vote?
I vote yay.
Bennett, yes. Okay. We have canceled our June 28th date with the fireworks. Hopefully to have them on the 31st of July.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, I hope it works out.
I do too.
No, I think the idea that it would be a grand reopening is a wonderful theme.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we just hope for the best.
Thank you. We've got a great town here. I can't thank you guys enough. You do a great job.
Well, you as well.
Oh, thank you.
All right, now we have the Emergency Management Director. Updates and staffing changes. Oh, let's see. Are we going to have to do this on our own?
I'm not sure.
Can you hear me? This is Emily.
Yeah.
Oh, Emily, I can hear you very well.
Sorry, we had a phone die and we had to change phones. Did anyone have any questions on anything that I had shared? Glad to hear that the falls is going to be reopening, and that the fireworks have been postponed. If there's no questions that you all had, Jay had an update he wanted to share.
So it didn't get on the agenda. I know, Dick, I talked to you about the radio tower.
Yes.
So it sounds like we need to move forward with getting the radio antenna situated. Shouldn't be a major issue. It was planned, it was budgeted. It's only like $1,400 to $1,800 for the Jackson's portion of it. So it's not a big money item, but I just want to make sure that there's no issues with getting that going. It's going to take some time to order what we got to order and then get up there with Austin Mountain Electronics and all that.
I believe that
there's no issues.
Having the tower is integral to our emergency management communications, so I think we should move right ahead with it.
Yeah, for sure, it's got to happen. It's really old. The antenna part's like 30 years old, so it needs to be replaced, and hopefully we're going to get a little better coverage for not so much Jackson, but there's some outlying areas that a little bit different antenna might make reception better. So that's the plan.
All right.
All right, we'll consider it ordered.
Well, let me take a vote on it. I don't want to just make that decision myself. Could I have a motion on going ahead with the emergency communications tower on Tyrol?
I will make that motion.
And I will second.
Alan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Barbara Campbell, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Bennett, yes. Unanimous. Okay, there it is. There's the mandate. Let's get that tower.
Thank you, Jay.
Yep, no problem.
So then the only other question we had was regarding the opening of the town offices. If there were plans to have the town offices open after June 15th.
Boy, I'm gonna have to. All right, let's see, 9th. I'm going to wait till after the 15th. I'm going to wait till our next meeting. I want to talk with everybody in the town office, how they feel, and whether we have in place the protection for the office people.
Mhm.
So, I would choose not to do, I can be overrode, but I would choose not to, vote on that opening at this time.
Definitely wise to make sure that everything is in place, just so that the discussion is beginning.
John, you all right with that?
Yes, I am.
Barbara?
Absolutely.
All right, then we'll, try to canvass everybody and see how the, office is shaping up and, deal with it at our next meeting.
Dick, I have one more agenda item that, that we needed to put on for the, from the Conservation Committee. They want to be able to, purchase, I'm trying to find my email details here. So to purchase, sorry, I'm finding this. The Wentworth Wildcat Fund is available, and they wanted to purchase. Why can't I find it? Julie, do you have the detail on this? I'm sorry.
I heard that they wanted to do some work up at the falls. We're gonna bring in some sod and,
That's what it was. Yes.
Yep.
wood
What it
chip.
is that the Conservation Commission asked that the Board of Selectmen submit a request for withdrawal of funds from the Wentworth Wildcat Fund in the amount of $1750 for the purpose of placing loam and sod in the area of the falls, similar to the work that was done last year. This is part of a larger effort to address soil erosion that has occurred in the area, and the Commission would like to take advantage of the current low levels of traffic. This estimate includes the cost of native sod, sandy loam, peat moss, compost, and temporary protective fencing. The installation of the materials will be completed by volunteers. They got approval from the trustees for this withdrawal, but they need they're asking for your approval for the withdrawal, but nothing's going to be submitted until I have an invoice.
Right, well, we can't request the, trust fund until we have an invoice, so
No, they
I'd
just
say
want permission to go ahead with the purchase.
it sounds like a good idea to me. They've done a nice job up there, and, I think we should go ahead with it.
I'll make a motion
Sounds good to
for
me.
the Conservation Commission to purchase purchase what they need to do repair work and maintenance at the falls. And they will submit
All
an
right, second.
invoice later. Thank you.
John is
And I will
second that.
second
John,
I vote yes.
Barbara Campbell, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Bennett, yes. Okay, so now we have gotten through that part of our meeting. I have building permits. I don't believe that Kevin Bennett is with us today. He's still taking his course. So
Dick?
I will, yes?
He is not here. However, you do have a non-public at the end, so I think all the building permits are just listed out as is if you want to move to the next part.
Okay, it's listed and they're for you. And, okay, then we have upcoming meetings. Our upcoming meetings are still by Zoom. We have one scheduled for June 23rd at 4 p.m. And one scheduled for July 14th at 4 p.m. And then before we go into a non-public session, I would like to step down from my select position for a moment and just read a statement that I would like to put in. I am not speaking for any of the other members of the select board, but just as a resident of the community. And that is that Black Lives Matter. And that is a byline of the protests that are going on in our country right now. And Black lives do matter. All lives matter. And we're fortunate to have police officers who don't overreact to difficult situations. And we have a leader in Chief Pearlie and officers of the highest quality. Black lives matter. All lives matter. And we have a police force which helps us to realize that goal. And for this, I am truly grateful. Thank you.
And speaking of all lives matter, if I could just add one more note too, that Jackson lost another great citizen of our town when Richard DeValian was killed a few weeks ago. So I just wanted to express support and thoughts to his family, and I'm sure that they must be going through quite a rough time right now.
Thank you, Barbara. I agree.
Dick, I'd like to say on behalf of myself and the rest of the members of the department, I really appreciate your words of support. We've received a lot of support from the community of late, and it's trying times for everybody. And our motto is, it doesn't matter how you feel about us, we're still going to answer the call when you need us, and we're still going to serve to the best of our abilities. And it's not just something we say, it's something we do every day. But it's certainly nice to hear, and we will reward your support and the community support with good deeds every chance we get.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
And Dick's puppy thanks you as well.
You're very welcome, and thank you indeed. And I'm going to bid you all adieu because I think my business is done tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right. I think that we are now going to go into a non-public session.
And Emily, so I can make sure that you and the three of us are only on the line. What number are you calling from with the last four?
So Jay and I are still here at 2197.
Okay.
Okay, I'm off. Bye.
Okay, bye. All right, so 2197, and then there's one more person on here, so hold on.
4365.
Okay. And who is on phone number 617-710-9268?
James Gleason, signing off.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, James.
Bye.
Okay, there are four of us on the line, so it's Dick, John, Barb, and Emily and Jay are on one line. Let me just stop recording as well.